A little rain never hurt nobody, right? It's the beautiful sound of rain, guys. You have to enjoy the peacefulness of that rain. Unless you have animals like us, and then it just sucks. Welcome back, guys, to CG Family Farm. I know a lot of farmers really like the sound of rain, especially for their crops. But if you're a little backyard farmer like we are and all you have is animals and you really don't raise any crops, then rain isn't the best sound. That's something really big you guys have to consider whenever you're building your farm, guys. There's places on your land that will puddle up and make so much mud and are dangerous for animals. Different things can be like chickens can develop parasites if they eat too much out of mud. Goats, their hoofs go bad. Cows, same thing. Their hooves, their health can decline if they stand out too much in the rain because they don't know how to find coverage. There's so much concerns about raising animals in this kind of weather. So today we're gonna go out there and try to see where everybody's at right now. It's not gonna be the best day for us today on CG Family Farm, but I want you guys to know that this is part of backyard farming, guys. So time to get real with you. Let's start off with a little bit of our backyard. Luckily I got the tractor to where I tried to flatten all this out a couple years ago. I went through with the box scraper and I gave it a little bit of a flattening out, so as you can see it's not as bad with water. Unfortunately though, you still have some places that puddle up, kind of like this one right here. And I don't know why I decided to leave the chickens on this side. I mean, we have plenty of space. I should have left them up there. And look at these poor little chickens, man. They are just swimming around that water. Now y'all looking like ducks. So first off, we're gonna start with moving this a little bit to higher ground because it's gonna continue raining and poor little chickens are gonna be stuck all day. So luckily the goats and the turkey are actually being kind of smart today. Well, psych! So much for that. That turkey sometimes is smart, sometimes it's not. You see, they got a little bit of mud here. I agree. That has to get fixed eventually. But they're at least on higher ground right now. They're smart enough to get up on this camper, which I was actually meaning to take it out. But now that I can see that it's useful to them, I might just leave it. But see, they're actually nicely covered up, so that's good. However, let's go check on the chickens. Of course, nobody's home. Oh, that? Yeah, guess what we got going on there? Yep, we got a broody chicken. We actually try to get the eggs every single day, but eventually, even if you come out for farm fresh egg every single day, the chicken will eventually find a way to sit on some of the eggs and say, no, you can't have them. You try to reach in there and they will peck at you. I guarantee you guys. So what we did was we simply gave her little space. She finally said, I don't want y'all to bother me. So we took her out of over here and we laid her over here on this side. And she is laying down comfortably. So you know what that means. We may have some baby chicks soon. Or do we have some already? You may get to find out here in a week or so. But since that's not what we're here for today, all I wanted to show you is where the chickens actually sleep at. You see that? That is a pure mess right there, guys. It is water everywhere. And that is just not good for the chickens. So what we need to really do is go outside this wall and we're going to dig a little trench on the outside of this wall and we're going to put a metal sheet all the way across that's going to go about 1.5 feet in and then it's going to stick up another foot. So that way it's going to be a barrier for the water. We're going to hope that takes care of it. Now I'm going to back up a little bit to back there in the land where I can show you how all the water just comes down here to the coop and the goat pen. And that was my mistake, guys. I should have built their shed somewhere else. But whenever we started all this, everything right there was all brush. Everything was full of brush. And I really wanted to set everything up because I really wanted to start my farm. So I just looked around land and saw where there was a clean spot, which was here, that had no brush. And I said, that's where we're going to put the coops. And now I kind of regret it. I wish I put them a little bit further. Now I'm just gonna have to work around it and have to build something that I can stop this water from actually getting in here. So yeah, this is exactly what I'm talking about. See that? If I'm gonna plan to put a horse in that one, I gotta get that fixed before that happens. And this, not to even mention it, this is no place to have a horse. They are heavy and they would tear this place up pretty bad. But see, look at the difference. Up here on high ground, no water, no puddles. Up there in that corner would have been perfect. But I decided to go ahead and do it down here. And look at that water just running on by. I wonder if I can just grab the tractor and make a trench right here where it's running. If I can make a trench around that chicken coop and then put metal roof on the bottom edge, that should keep the water away. That's the plan. And that if I continue the trench all the way up, probably to that corner T-post, then that should keep the water away from where I'm going to put the horse at as well. Then I'll continue the trench out this way and I can just guide the water out to that side. Alright, so now that we checked on the backyard and you've seen that the goats are fine, the turkey's fine, the chicken coop is not that fine, but the chickens are roaming around mainly over there by the trees. And that's what I'll tell you. I mean, to me, I would find coverage, but chickens, nope, they're still roaming around looking for worms, and eventually if they keep doing that, they may catch a cold. So we got to be careful here in the next few days, and we're probably gonna have to give them medicine. Now, time to go to the front yard to show you how things are looking over there. Well, luckily I don't have that many animals right now, so I don't have to worry too much about it. But I do want to show you things that I did to my property to try to avoid too much of a mud mess around my home. So right here in this area, if you can see, we really don't have much mud. The reason being is that that gutter runs to the right and then goes down. That gutter in the middle goes down. Then we got another gutter over there at the far end. And what I did was basically I tied these pipes down through here, and then I went underground, buried them, used a Y, and tied it into that gutter, and there's no water around this area. So that's something for you guys to consider whenever you're building around the house, your porches, your decks, any kind of things around your home. You really have to consider your water. So in one of our first videos, you can actually see where we're working right here on this trench. We buried that pipe, and then we brought it down through here, and we tied it down at the corner. And we did the same actually over here on the front. So over here, we got a gutter on the far end. As you can see, we tied it at the bottom as well, and it just comes out this end. We didn't actually tie this to nothing, but I made a trench around this little garden bed. We got the other one there, came out there, and the water should guide outside this little garden bed. Then we did put a pipe underneath this actual sidewalk. That way, every single gutter that pours onto the outside of this trench runs underneath here and then continues to run on the outside of this sidewalk. And as you can see, it's actually working, guys. That water continues flowing. The only place where I still lacked a little bit more work was right here, because then after this it just kind of all spreads out. A little bit more work left to do, but so far it's holding up pretty good. Another one we did here, this gutter actually goes right along the middle of that garden bed and then ties into this other gutter right there. And then before they laid down the concrete, I actually asked them to put a pipe right underneath this concrete that comes out right here on this corner. We then tied that corner, you can see the pipe right here, right there. We tied it in to that gutter, and both of those actually run underneath here around that post and down to this corner where of course we have a big mess. But this only happens whenever it rains this much. You just give it one day without raining, probably only 6 hours, and all this water disappears, simply because right there in that corner is where all the hoses are tied into, and it's also the very lowest point of my property. So I did that on purpose. Whenever I flattened out the back of my land, I scraped everything down to this corner. That way I knew that all the water would run down to one little corner. Then I put 3 4-inch pipes going underneath this whole gravel and dirt, and then it comes out this way. As you can see though, whenever it rains this much, that water does not respect the pipe. It tries to suck up all that water and go through the pipe and transfer over to this side. But yes, since the pipes probably aren't big enough, could have gone with one 10-inch pipe, and then that might have got all the water. But either way, like I said, it's only whenever it's this bad of a rain that we actually get flooded on this side. But yes, then the water comes down here and goes over this, and we have trenched it all the way down. I'm going to tell you a little bit more of where we have Rocky, because right now he's actually over there covered up, which is awesome. He's doing really great on that. But here is where we used to put his feed, and that's a no-go, guys. This is where you really have to consider what you're doing, because whenever we used to put his feed right there or his water, he used to come up, eat and drink. Well, all this was just mud, because water runs from up there and comes over here, and it passes right through there, so all that dirt is soft. So what we did instead this time around was we moved the stuff up here. But as you can see, we're still having a little bit of a problem because all the water still tends to run through there. So that's also creating a soft ground. So now we have to reposition that a little bit higher, probably up there where the hay is at, because we thought ahead on that one and we said that hay needs to stay away from low grounds and places where Rocky's going to build up a bunch of mud like he did back there in our backyard. So that's where we placed it. So this water and this feeder is probably going to go up there tomorrow. And there's good old Rocky right now, starting to come out in the rain. Well, it did kind of slow down a little bit, so I don't blame him. It kind of sucks being stuck inside that little barn. Well, and Luna, you found coverage over there too, girl? So Last little section of water, guys. As you can see, we got some water going out this way, so I didn't do too bad. But then same thing, I didn't finish it off. I stopped right here in this area, and when I did, it made the water go into that corner right there. All this water right here. Look at this. I mean, that is bad. That is water everywhere, guys, and it all goes out into that very corner and goes down the road, which is great. But this could actually be done a lot better if I run down this way, do a trench, and it could be nice and neat, running all the way out to the side of my driveway into the ditch. But no, instead it decides to go in the middle of my grass, which I need to start mowing, but it's gonna be difficult because now I gotta wait probably a good 5 days until all this dries up. Told you I was gonna be real. It's nice having land, it's nice having animals, but it is work, guys. Let's continue one more little section and then we can go back to the porch and finish it up. So right here where Rocky is at, you can see this little side just puddles up strong. And that's simply because the water tries to find its way out down this way. Initially, I did have a trench right here and it made it run out that way. However, we do have plans to plant trees all across this fence line and on this side. So that is why, even though I first made a ditch, then I went back and covered it up. The water still tends to find its way out through the old ditch and it runs out this way instead of the new ditch that runs out straight to the road. And that's probably because there's a low spot right there in the center. So now I'm having trouble finding out how I'm going to raise all this up without having to bring in a bunch of new dirt. That's the problem. But for the meantime, Rocky's actually doing pretty good because he has some high ground over there and he has a lot of high ground over there. It's just crossing over this side, right, Rocky? You're stuck over there because there's water everywhere. And if you probably step in right there in that area where there's that branches and trees, trunks and everything is that, probably really soft. And he's probably going to get really, really muddy or maybe even stuck. We'll have to keep an eye on him here for the rest of the day and tomorrow to make sure I don't have to come out here and pull him out. All right, Rocky, I'll see you in a bit. So yes, guys, today was a little bit more of a quick video, and I know it wasn't too much having to do about farm animals, but it has a lot to do with actually how you set up your farm animals and how you set up your property entirely. So whenever you guys go to build a house or actually work around your house to do remodeling, there's a lot of things you really have to consider. So I just wanted to make a video to try to help you guys out when you plan ahead. Your biggest enemy is going to be water. All right, so always plan on where you're going to send that water off away from your property and have a nice little backyard, little front yard, little place for all your animals. But don't let any of this discourage you guys. This was simply to help you plan for the future of your backyard farm. Because even though these animals do keep us busy and sometimes we have to work in the rain, the other day I even had to put our little heifer in around 9 o'clock p.m. because the rain just got here really heavily and she was stuck out there in the corner and she didn't know how to get back in. And I mean, I was chasing her around in the rain, but still, I mean, it makes for great memories, great adventures, and we wouldn't have any other way. We truly love this lifestyle, and I know if you guys do too, that is why you're here. So like this video, subscribe to the channel because it's only going to get better and better. And I hope you guys actually enjoy videos like this that just try to bring a little bit of value to you guys, right? It's not that much of entertainment, but it's a value. So that'll wrap things up for today. And like always, you guys get out there and have fun.